No kiddos are allowed in my lab. This is for adults only. Viewer discretion is advised. Are you constantly narrating your own life like it's a Dateline episode? Do you whisper, "The husband did it," at weddings? You may be one of the millions silently suffering from a condition known as True Crime Brain Syndrome, or TCBS. But now there's hope. Cluvelta, the first semi-legal, questionably tested treatment for TCBS. Cluvelta helps restore balance to your life by gently replacing your obsession with murder with an obsession with real estate shows. Cluvelta users report fewer murder boards, shorter Reddit rabbit holes, and an increased ability to trust their spouses again. Maybe. Side effects of Cluvelta may include watching cooking shows and actually following the recipes, trusting your neighbors not to be serial killers, starting a knitting club, and accidentally solving local crimes anyway, hallucinations of Keith Morrison narrating your dreams, and in rare cases, mild interest in HGTV. If you experience sudden urges to say, "Let's circle back," or "This doesn't add up," discontinue use immediately and call your podcast co-host immediately. Cluvelta, because even you deserve to sleep without checking your Ring camera 12 times a night. Well, hello there and welcome back. I'm so grateful that you are here. I am also grateful for the unwavering support of Cluvelta, which has not been tested anywhere. It's completely, well, I don't want to say it's fictional, because you can go to my website right now. You click on merch. You may not be able to get Cluvelta itself, but you can get a Cluvelta t-shirt or a Cluvelta coffee mug. I'm just saying. Very grateful to Cluvelta for its continued sponsorship of this channel. Guys, enough of the jocularity, okay? Enough of the jocularity. We don't take ourselves seriously, but we do take cases seriously. And this is a serious case that we're talking about here. Of course, we are talking about the disappearance of 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, who disappeared on May 2nd, 2025. They were reported missing on the 2nd. They were last seen on the 1st. I think this is probably the 11th or 12th video that we've done on this case. Obviously, it's a very important case. We've got missing children. I do believe, in my soul, I think that we're just looking at a recovery effort at this point. I don't want it to be that way, but that's the way it feels. A couple of things have happened over the last couple of days. It was yesterday and today. Number one, the CBC did an amazing, they did an amazing job journalistically. They tracked down Lily and Jack's grandmother, the mother of their father. And that was aired yesterday. Today, an interview with Daniel Martell was aired or showed on the internet anyway. And I want to watch these together with you. However, I want to start with a third video that the CBC has done, which is kind of a, hey, where are we on the Lily and Jack case? So we are going to watch this first. I think it's about 8 minutes long. There are a couple little tidbits. Right before I started, I did a little poll asking if you think that Lily and Jack are still in the woods, and we're actually at about 80-20. We're at exactly 80-20. 80% of you say no, they're not in the woods. 20 say yes. And those of you who say yes agree with the lead researcher, at least as it's reported here in this video. So, let us start this one. We'll listen to it together, hopefully. Oh, I do want to warn you, though. I didn't have time to bump up the volume. So the volume on these videos is different each video. I'm trying to bring down my volume a little bit to equalize it just a little bit, but it's going to be a little low. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this. We're probably going to stop along the way and talk about it. So let's start here.
My heart tells.
No, wrong one. This one.
Are you able to authorize and start getting some search teams going to the Gerlach location?
Radio chatter. Search crews and first responders mobilizing in a quest no one dreamed would take this long.
Just make sure Mom stays close to the house there in case they happen to sneak out and get back into the house.
A home deep in rural Nova Scotia, 140 kilometers northeast of Halifax, the last known location.
A lot of area to cover. We're out in the sticks here.
Not one, but two missing children. A dog that barked.
You guys remember we did... I'm messing with my soundboard here live. I should not be doing that. Remember that we did listen to all of those recordings of the search and rescue and so forth. I thought they did a terrific job of trying to locate these kiddos. It just wasn't in the cards for them to do it.
At everything, a mother who left on the second day, a father who hasn't seen the kids in 3 years, and a stepfather trying to piece things together.
It's been a long 6 weeks. I know that
We're going to watch the more extended version of this. They just use some clips.
everybody basically in the world at this point is always wanted to know like what happened.
The mystery of what happened to 6-year-old Lily Mae Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother Jack William James Sullivan is indeed gripping the country and beyond. It is Friday, May 2nd. Martell and his partner Malaya Brooks Murray, the children's mother, are having a lazy morning with
I've been calling her Malia, for which I apologize. Her name is Malaya.
baby. Lily and Jack are in the kitchen alone.
Malaya and the baby were asleep. Lily came in multiple times. I was not in deep sleep by any means. And then about 20 minutes passed, and then when I woke up, Malaya was right beside me. She was still asleep. And I said, I don't hear Lily and Jack.
The time, no one will say for sure, but police say it was around 10 a.m. when they got a 911 call.
I'm just real quick. There are some concerns that I have about the interview that Mr. Martell did. Remind me to get into that. I have some concerns, but let's keep going.
I ran up in the woods to the kids. They have cabins up in the woods, which only took me like 30 seconds. I came right back down. She was on the phone with the RCMP.
For 6 days, crews tackled an exhaustive search. The children's mother took the baby to be with her family in another part of the province. Her mother told CBC News the RCMP told them not to speak with news reporters. The RCMP says it just advised everyone to be mindful of the information they share publicly. On May 7th, police scaled back the search.
The probability of survival is taken into consideration.
But search crews returned for 2 more weekends until the end of May, searching wells, mine shafts, and septic systems, even flying a drone beneath the home.
The 4-year-old is wearing some blue.
I doubt they flew that drone underneath the home. That'd be a hard flight.
Dinosaur boots.
Police say they found a boot print. And listen to this in the radio chatter.
Families brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket.
Police won't say anything about a blanket, but Martell says a piece of Lily's blanket was found near the boot print. He says both children may have undiagnosed autism.
Yeah, the blanket thing was news to me, and I do remember listening to that radio chatter, but that is something that didn't stick in my mind as something. So they found a boot print, they found a piece of Lily's blankie or blanket. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what that might mean. I'd love your comments on that.
For a lot of people, this story just sounds odd.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. And I see it every day online.
He's keenly aware the public suspects him, says the police did too at the start.
Of course, the stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
So he offered to take a polygraph test.
I was extremely nervous, especially with the first question they asked you, did you kill Lilly and Jack?
That was the first question they asked you?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would scare me too.
When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job, you passed.
Hi, Kayla. How you doing?
The RCMP's Corporal Guillaume Tremblay is not an investigating officer, but he speaks for the force in Nova Scotia.
You know, it's quite rare that in my career I've never seen two missing children go at the same time.
Was anything found in any of these searches that was deemed to be of significance? Even if you can't tell me what it was, anything of significance?
So I can tell you that the investigation is ongoing and that we haven't found any evidence to show that there was an abduction of the children.
So you don't think they were abducted, but you can't find them. How do two young children just vanish?
That's a great question, Kayla, and we are asking for the public for tips and information.
He says the force has received close to 500 tips, some that have taken them elsewhere in the country. But the only confirmed site...
That, by the way, sorry to interrupt once again, but they don't believe there's an abduction. We've heard that before. But if there... So that either means that there was a murder, which if they asked Daniel the very first question, hey, did you murder your children? Right, then they are suspicious of that. And then the second thing would be that they're still out in the woods, right? That's what that would mean. Those are the two things that I can think of. Tell me what your thoughts are. Let me go back. Bang. Come on.
Of Jack and Lily was the day before they disappeared in Nova Scotia. Martell says the children were seen on camera with the whole family. Still, police are asking for trail camera footage in the area dating back 5 days. They say they're trying to establish a timeline in the lead up to the disappearance.
So when teams are tasked, they get a bearing.
Crews have searched around 8.5 square kilometers.
Coming up through all of this stuff.
Amy Hansen has been the search manager for most of that. She's taking us into the woods to show us what her team has been dealing with.
The vast majority of it was probably from Fiona.
Downed trees from post-tropical storm Fiona 3 years ago.
This is actually fairly mild compared to some of the areas.
Over a total of 10 days, they searched for 12,000 hours.
It's pretty much unheard of in this province. It's the biggest search I've been involved in.
And she's been at this 22 years.
And I do have to say that, like, everything that the RCMP has done, all of the efforts of the first responders, of the searchers, has been Herculean. I mean, I actually love being in the position of being grateful that the police and the searchers have done a job that I'm confident is a terrific job. I love being in that position. It's just, but we still haven't found those kids. It's tough.
Do you think those kids are in the woods?
From everything I've seen, yes.
Why can't you find them?
They're small, they'd be hiding. They would have crawled underneath something probably when they got tired. They could have gone further than what we searched. There's all kinds of scenarios, unfortunately.
And that's playing heavily on the mind of this woman, Lilly and Jack's paternal grandmother.
Their smiles are just beautiful.
She hadn't seen the children in nearly 2 years, a relationship left complicated after her son, their biological father, chose to stay out of their lives. She says he has been questioned by police 3 times.
A couple of days ago, they had contact and they told him that they weren't looking his way anymore, that everything was fine.
She says she joined the search herself as soon as she heard Lilly and Jack were missing. She doesn't believe the children are in the woods.
Did you guys see, by the way, in the background there are like children's toys? I would imagine she has other grandchildren, I guess.
There's no reason for any child to wander deep into the woods. There's just not.
The brush is just too thick.
It is way too thick. Way too thick.
Tonight is about saying a prayer.
She attended a vigil in Pictou County marking 1 month since the children went missing and says she feels the support of the community and beyond.
Well, these are everybody's grandchildren. They're not just mine now.
As she clings to cherished keepsakes,
This is Lily's handprint.
she is pleading for any information that could provide answers.
There is nothing more pure and innocent than a 6 and a 4-year-old. And they deserve so much better than what they got.
She keeps
I wonder what she means by that, and we're gonna listen to her extended interview. I think it's edited, but I wonder what she means by that. Is she talking about her son abandoning them? Is she talking about Malaya and Dan? I don't know what she's talking, or maybe she's just talking about they're missing. I don't know.
her mind occupied spending time in the garden, surrounded by hummingbirds. Symbols of hope, though she admits now that so much time has passed, she doesn't have much hope the children will be found alive, and even worries the mystery of what happened to them may never be solved.
All right, so that is that. I'm curious what you guys are thinking at this point. By the way, I've kept this up for the most part. I did want you guys to know, if you're new here, if you want me to see your comment, put a GF on it. That's why I brought it up before, but I want to keep this up pretty much the entire time that we're talking. If you have any idea, any tips for the Mounties, anything, you can be you can do so anonymously by calling Crime Stoppers 1-800-222-8477, 1-800-222-8477. Okay, we're going to go over to your comments here real quick. We're going to bring up Lilly and Jack, and let me push all the right buttons, make sure that what about Alexander J. Dumas, or Peter J. Dumas? Sorry, I don't have merch on that yet. Dealing with a lawyer, it's really hard to get them to do the merch. So DM says, this is the first video you're seeing about these kids. Hey, listen, go back. It's on my channel. I think this is 11th or 12th video that we've done. This is a tragic case, and the more time goes by, just the more fearful I am that we're never going to know what happened to them. Promise Road says, Gavin, every time I catch a live stream, my 3.5-week-old baby, well, okay, lead with that. 3.5 weeks, congratulations. My 3.5-week-old baby girl falls asleep. Your voice is very soothing. Thank you, Lol. It gives me time to get some things done while I listen to the stream. Hey, I am the father of 5 children. I am a baby whisperer, okay? I am a baby whisperer, especially when they're fussy, especially when they need a nap. I'm telling you, my voice has magical powers. And it was just like a couple weeks ago, or a couple weeks before we went on our trip, we had a new little family come to church, and they had a fussy little one. I don't know, older, 8 or 9 months old, something like that. All you have to do is hand them over to me. Hand her, in that case. Just hand them all over to me. I am the Pied Piper of children. I can get them all to sleep. So I'm glad that Promise Roads, you are benefiting from that. Robin says, keep reminding folks of the sound because it'll be ongoing. Yeah, I didn't have time to bump up the volume on the sound on the videos that we're watching, so I'm doing my best to keep it roughly even. But I don't know how successful I am going to be. I'll do my best, though. Let's see. Sheila Lindauer, hasn't his story changed? I don't know how much it's changed or if it has been changed by other people. Like the whole driving around for 2 hours and then going up into the woods to see their forts, that does feel like a change, but it could possibly be that he said both of those things from the very beginning. It's very difficult to know with the way things are presented to us. And it's hard for me to even remember. So I don't know how much his story has changed. And when we get to his interview, I'm going to talk a little bit about my concerns. We'll definitely do that. Let's see. Dreamcatcher, so is the report I just saw true that the mom is on the run with Meadow and that she knows where Jack and Lily are? The uncle said. Anyone know if this is true or not? If it didn't come from the RCMP, I would discount it heavily. I honestly would. I have not heard that, but I wouldn't automatically believe it. I would keep a healthy level of skepticism, healthy level of cynicism even. Sammy J, or maybe they're hidden somewhere alive. What's up with the mom? The whole story is like a murder mystery book. What's up with the undiagnosed autism? We all have undiagnosed autism. Come on. It is, yeah, the Malaya Brooks Murray, here's a picture of her leaving with their baby and just going away is strange. I'll concede to that for sure. Nifty 5050 says, I don't know how the kids could still be in the woods unless they are buried there. Even then, the dogs would have found them. Yeah, and yet that 22-year veteran searcher, Amy, I can't remember her last name, she believes that they're still in the woods. I don't know. I do not know. What kind of wildlife is in the woods there? We did talk about that once, and several people from Canada did bring it up. So all the usual suspects, right? We got coyotes out there, foxes, wolves, bears, moose, deer, elk, all the wild creatures, rabbits. It's a thriving natural ecosystem out there. So it is possible that they were set upon by wild animals. That's certainly part of it. Ooh, this one didn't have GF in it, but it was right below one that did. We're going to get to it, okay? Kristen Piston says, Gavin, what is your opinion on where the kids are? I really hate to do this, but I don't have an opinion on where they are. I have lots of theories on where they are, but I don't think that there's any evidence that we know about that points in any direction that would make me form an opinion about it. That's just the I guess curious skeptic in me. If they haven't found them in the woods, then either I honestly think they would have found them in the search area. So either they were not in that search area, or, I mean, is it possible that they just walked over them? Was that possible? Just didn't see them? I mean, Amy, what was her name? I can't remember. She seems to think so. Michelle says Nova Scotia has offered a $150,000 reward. Well, that's good. That is good. That will help. Liz Fortes says, Gavin, I have always believed Daniel is innocent. I think it was the mom. My gut tells me he is innocent. Yeah, we're going to thank you for that comment. We are going to listen to what he has to say here in just a moment. I'm going to just go through a couple more of these. Tony says, I think Grandma has her own idea of what she thinks happened. Yeah, that probably she isn't sharing. Susan says, I still have a problem with the kids going outside without permission. When Malaya said they knew that was not permitted, all of a sudden both disobeyed. I mean, So I'm one of 3 brothers. I'm one of 5 children. There are 3 brothers all in a row. We're bookended by our sisters. Oh, yeah, if one had an idea to sneak out, it was not hard for the other 2 to go along with it. And me being the youngest of the 3, I went along with a lot of ideas from a very young age. So to me, no, I think if one child goes out and is having a good time, I think the other one would follow. I think that's natural. What my question is, them not having permission to go outside and play. I mean, this is rural Canada. Okay, this is not the middle of the city. This isn't New York, Chicago, London, Mexico City. This is rural Nova Scotia. I can't imagine that there was a rule that said you can't go out and play. I mean, it was a freaking playground out there. They had a fenced yard. We saw in that video they had forts in the woods, right? Let me go back to that real quick. See if I can find it by scanning real quick. Well, I'm not able to just get it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to bring you back over here.
Sure, but police say it was around 10
See that
a.m.
right
when they
there?
got a 911 call.
I ran up in the woods to the kids. They have cabins up in the woods.
They have cabins up in the woods, and I think that's what they're showing here, right? So these are kids that played outdoors. I mean, there are places on Earth where you wouldn't let your children go out and play. Rural Nova Scotia, I think, is probably a place where they would let their kids go out and play. So when I heard Malaya say they know the rules, they can't go out, that sounded more like she was trying to make us believe that she was some sort of great mom. And she may have been, but she had that pressure on her. She was under the magnifying glass. So that's my thought anyway. I don't know. Couple more before we go. Jennifer says, Gavin, when the grandmother said they deserved more, I said out loud, what does that mean? And then you said it too. This is very sad and disturbing. Yeah, I don't know what it means. What does that even mean? They deserved more. Does that mean that they deserved a better father? Does that mean they deserved a better mother, stepfather, family life? What did they deserve that they didn't get? And by the way, like, I think all children deserve to be reared in a loving, intact family. That's my position. I know that some of you will disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine as long as we don't get disagreeable about it. So I don't know. I don't know what she means by that, but it's weird to me. It's weird. Okay, let's go on over to this one. This is the piece that the CBC did with Jack and Lily's paternal grandmother. Here we go.
My heart tells me these babies are gone.
Belinda Gray.
My heart tells me that.
What does she mean by gone? Does she mean they're dead, or that they were taken somewhere, they're gone?
I am the grandmother of Lilly and Jack.
Oh, and by the way, turn your volume up for this. Sorry about that.
I am the grandmother on the biological father's side. My son is Cody Sullivan. He's not in jail. He's never been out west. He does not have a criminal record. And right now he's living with me. He has been for 9 months.
How did you find out that Lily and Jack were missing?
The mom of my grandson called me. We were in town. She asked if I heard the news. She sent me the article that was on Facebook showing the kids missing. I couldn't call Malaya yet, so I waited till we got home. And I called Well, I didn't call her, I texted her. And she told me that, yes, that the kids were missing, that they've been missing since this morning. I was in a state of panic, shock. But in the back of my mind, I kept saying, well, they'll find them. I mean, I'm assuming that they'd find them. So I told her, well, we'll head out first thing in the morning and help with the search. It was around between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. A couple of cop cars pull into the driveway. The lights wake me up that I'm a fairly light sleeper, so I see the cars pull in, so I knew what it was. So they come inside. They only stood in the kitchen. They wanted me to wake Cody up, and they wanted to know when was the last time he had seen the kids, and that they were just making sure that the kids weren't here. And then they left. So we showed up Saturday morning, me and my sister, and we met up with my dog.
You know what? That's really crappy. I'm sorry. That's really crappy. So she goes to look for the kids, but her son, who sired them, did not. Oh my, that just irks me, man. That just irks me. Goodness.
And we started, well, I asked Malaya, I said, Malaya, I said, you know your kids. Nobody knows their kids like their mom. Where do your kids normally go to play out in the yard? What direction do they usually like to explore? And she said, well, they always play up in the little woods right on the side. I said, well, okay. I said, we'll start from that point and we'll work our way out. We had spoken to a search and rescue, and we weren't allowed on the other side because that's where they were searching at the time. So we just started combing through the woods up through there. We were gone for a couple of hours. I'm yelling for Lily and Jack. We always call Jack Jackie Boy. And yeah, that went on for a few hours, but those woods, I started to feel that I can't see them being in the woods. There's trees everywhere. You literally have to climb over trees, climb under bushes. It is really, really thick. We come back out and I went in to see Malaya again. I assumed she was in shock. She was very...
This part is actually kind of important to me. Listen to this part pretty closely.
Very non-emotional, very just flat, monotone. But Malaya's very soft-spoken anyway. That she's not usually excitable. I thought that's made her a really great mom. She was an excellent mom.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. That one of the complaints that I had in this interview is just like she was stoic, just saying the story that she had, no tears, no panic, no concern. I mean, you know what I mean? And I guess her ex's mom is saying, well, that's just the way she is. And it was something that I admired about her, right? It's what made her, in my mind, a good mom, just not excitable.
She never raised her voice at the kids. That it was always, now Lily, what did mommy say? And I used to think, now if anybody's meant to be a mom, it was her. A part of me still feels that.
Why only a part of you still feels that? What do you mean?
After seeing the place, seeing the condition of the home, it was like the total opposite of what I knew of Malaya.
I find that really interesting because we've talked about this, right? This place is in a shambles. It's just in real disarray. And her, the children's grandmother was like, this isn't the way. This isn't Malaya.
Was always clean, very clean about herself, about the kids, about her home.
That to me speaks, and that to me speaks that there has been a change in the person's life. I'm not saying that this is true about Malaya. I'm just saying here's an example. Just today, I got the news when I spoke to our county coroner that a young woman died in the Venango County jail in western Pennsylvania. She was not killed. I'm just going to put it that way. You guys understand what I'm saying, but it's YouTube, right? Nothing happened to her by anybody else. And going through her criminal record and the reports that my publication had done on her, for like 3 years, she had major issues, major mental health issues, and it just seemed to have come out of nowhere. There was a change, and she of course was addicted to substances, and she just struggled with her mental health. And sometimes that just happens, right? Just there's a change, something happens, and I oftentimes find that is an addiction thing. Her former mother-in-law, whatever you want to call that, the children's grandma, saw this place and was like, this is not Malaya. This is not her. And of course, she goes on to say that it had been 1 year and 9 months since they had seen each other. Her son hadn't seen his kids in over 3 years. It's gonna get to that. So I don't know when that change happened, but according to her here, there was a change. And it makes me wonder if there was some sort of something some major change. It could have been addiction. It could have been mental health crisis. Could have been a lot of different things, right? I'm not calling Malaya an addict or anything. I'm just seems like there was a change. That's all I'm saying.
Home looked more like a camp. Now, I don't know if it's from all the people that were there, because I didn't show up till the day after, but it was very unkempt. I was pretty surprised.
I love you.
Lily is, she was my little dream girl, the first granddaughter.
What a sweetie.
And I love that she had the brown hair, and
oh my
she had
goodness.
a space between her teeth, which I had when I was a kid. So yeah, she was our little princess. Jack was such a sober, serious little baby that he didn't like to smile. You could tickle him, and he would look at you ever so serious, like he was really studying you.
Sweet.
And so how long were your son and Malaya together?
3.5 years, I think it was, yeah. I thought they were the picture-perfect family. Then Malaya started to tell me that they were having problems and she wasn't happy. She told me that she wasn't happy and she thinks she's going to leave. And I told her that we supported whatever she decides, that one good parent is way better than 2 broken ones.
And then how did that change your relationship with Lily and Jack?
I thought it was going to change, but it didn't. Yeah, it didn't change. Malaya, she was a sweetheart. Anytime we wanted to see the kids, she'd come by for a visit. She'd bring them by all the time. It was actually really, really good.
So when was the last time you saw the children?
1.5 years, almost, really. It's about 1 year and 9 months.
How did you deal with that?
I feel like she probably still was in contact with the kids. That's what it feels like to me, though she hadn't seen them in that long. But I might be reading that wrong.
Really, to be honest, maybe I didn't deal good enough with it. I looked at the fact that when her and my son separated, my son walked away. He chose to walk away, that she wanted sole custody of the kids. So she petitioned the courts for sole custody, and when she did that, he said he was done.
Were you ever formally questioned?
Yes.
So then it's about
I
a
would
month.
be so disappointed in my son, man. I'd be so disappointed in that.
After Lily and Jack are last seen, that they come and formally question you.
So it's about 3 weeks. They questioned Cody for 1.5 hours in the vehicle, and then they questioned me for 2 hours in the vehicle.
How did that feel to you?
I didn't mind. I mean, to me, I expected I'm the grandmother, so it wasn't a surprise to me. I'm assuming the sooner they do all that, I wish they would have done it sooner. that the sooner they can move on. So I didn't have a problem. My son was a little upset about it. He said they made him feel like he did something wrong, and he said he hadn't seen the kids in 3 years. So he was a little upset about it, that he said that they really come at him hard. They wanted to know what her favorite color.
Oh, my heart is just broken right now. To walk out on a 1 and 3-year-old, my heart is just absolutely broken right now. I'm gutted over that. And I think that happens to children all the time.
Was, and he said they were babies when I seen them last. He said she was just learning what she wanted to figure out to eat. I don't know what her color is. So yeah, he was pretty upset.
Have they ever talked to him again since then?
A couple of days ago they had contact, and they told him that they weren't looking his way anymore, that everything was fine.
And have they ever given you any information?
No, it's always the same thing.
Which is what?
They've got everybody on it. They are looking at all avenues. They can't divulge any information that could compromise their investigation. It's the exact same words.
Why are you so sure they're not in the woods?
I have children. I have grandchildren. And I see what kids are like through the woods. There's no reason for any child to wander deep into the woods. There's just not. I think somebody hurt these kids. I think somebody hurt them.
You don't sound very hopeful.
No. Our last day searching on...
I guess we know that what she means now. She thinks somebody hurt them. I think what she means is somebody killed these kids.
Monday, and seeing the woods and seeing the searchers and everybody everywhere. There's no way those kids are in the woods. There is nothing more pure and innocent than a 6 and a 4-year-old. And they deserve so much better than what they got.
That part, I still have a question about. They deserved so much more than what they got. Well, maybe she's talking about her son. I mean, that honestly could be it. She strikes me as a straight shooter. And maybe she's talking about that. Let's go over to what you guys are saying, and then we'll do the third video. Let me bring this up real quick. DM says, Gavin, thank you. I can't usually follow cases with littles. Well, thank you. I'm the same way. Actually, if you talk to my mods, I used to say, no, I can't do that case. Nope, can't do that case. But with this case, I was really hopeful that we could help find them. And that's why I started. Now I just can't let it go. Mary says, Gavin, I have a feeling Malaya left Daniel with Meadow and met with someone who has the kids. Maybe he's controlling or abusive, just saying who knows what really happened. I wish the kids would be found. I mean, yeah, your theory is every bit as good as mine, or anybody else's for that matter. Cece Haxton, Gavin, there's a video on another channel today in which a relative of the mom is saying that the mom took the kids to the road and had someone else pick them up. Okay, so Cece, I have not seen that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I didn't see it. So if you go over to my website and remind yourself that there are amazing Clue Velta merch here, and click on this little button right up here, that will take you to this contact page, and you can send me a link. I would love anybody, if anybody has any clues. Now, if you have tips, then yeah, do the Crime Stoppers thing, right? But if you want to help me just understand what's going on a little better so I can report a little better, use this contact me form, okay? And thank you. I would love to see that. video. Teresa Warner, this is probably a stupid question, but how many searchers looked up small bodies could be hidden in trees? That I don't know that question. I don't think that's a stupid question at all. As a non-searcher, I am a researcher. As a non-searcher, I have no idea. I think that people are putting too much stock in the hiding on the reservation thing. That's just my opinion. I just know that reservations are not some magic place that police can't go. So I would imagine that if the RCMP is in touch with Daniel and other family members, then they are in touch with Malaya as well. L.N. Alstrom Dixon. There's another channel, Dolly Vision, that did a live stream, and Daniel showed up in chat saying Malia's on the run with Meadow. Thoughts? He didn't say anything yesterday about that. That feels to me more like a prank or something. But if you can provide me that video, I will definitely watch it. Sammy J, where are the stepdad's kids? He talks about that a little bit in his interview, and we're going to go ahead and get into that, so I won't put words in his mouth. We can talk about it a little bit. Robin, your mom must have been a saint when you were growing up. When I was growing up, my mom continues to be a saint. My mom is a saint. She is amazing. Yes. And yes, she put up with quite a bit. In fact, I used to think that so my mom started me in kindergarten very early. I was 4 years old, and I don't know if she had to petition the school to let it happen, but she put me in school very, very early. And I used to think that it was because I was so smart. Oh yeah, I was just so intelligent. Mom would put me in early. She knew how intelligent I was. I could get along. I could do all the things that the other kids could do that were a year older than me, blah, 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 blah. No, it wasn't that. My mom was sick of me. She wanted rid of me for a couple hours a day. That's funny. Oh my goodness. Do I think they are alive? I do not. I mean, it's possible. It's possible. But according to the app that we looked at together, the likelihood is low. Where is that app? There it is. You guys remember we went through this? The lost person behavior app. I think the likelihood is low, but it's possible. It's possible that they were abducted. It's possible they were snuck away. It's possible that Malaya had something to do with it. There are so many things that are possible. But I think the probability is somebody killed these kids. I think that's the probability. I hope I'm wrong. I really, really hope I'm wrong. Iona Lawson. Sorry. Gavin, how can anyone stay in bed till 10 with 2 young children up and about? Did they get their own breakfast? Well, I mean, here I'm telling on myself again. You guys know that not only do I have a sainted mother, I have a sainted wife. And she and I have different circadian rhythms. And so I was always on dad duty late at night. She was always on mom duty early in the morning. I always got good Z's. So I don't know. I don't know what their situation was. And going back again to the grandmother, I need to memorize her name for crying out loud. Belinda Gray. There were things that she was shocked when she got up there that Malaya was doing. It wasn't Malaya. Maybe that was something that was new as well. Maybe. Just tough to know. Norbeaster, we have foxes, lynx, coyotes, bears, moose, bobcats. Yeah, all of the things. All the things. Susan Lewis, the issue is if they weren't allowed out without permission, why didn't Malaya and Daniel tell them to come back in? Yeah. Leslie Ann says, Gavin, I live on top of a hill surrounded by woods. One neighbor and her toddlers are always out playing alone. Yeah, and when I was a kid, we lived in a rural community. I was surrounded by farms and farmland and mountains and woods and rivers. And when I was little, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, yeah, I would be out playing in that 100%. Getting ticks, getting scuffs and bruises and abrasions. Accidentally, I one time rolled down a hill and landed in, we called them prickly pears. They're little desert cactus. And had to have all those needles plucked out of my hind end by my mom in front of all of her aunts. It was mortifying. Yeah, in a place like this, I think they go out and play. I think Malaya's story is suspicious to me. Okay, so let us... Man, it just refreshed, so we are going to... There we go. I'll just get that ready. Let's go over to the third video. Here we go. Man, oh, dude, we gotta get going, Gavin. Stop with the talky talk, Mr. Fish. All right, here's Daniel Martell. Now, keep in mind, by the way, these are edited. These are not the full videos. They're edited for time, right? So we don't know what they edited out. We don't know if they did it out of order. We don't know a lot of things. So we have to give a little bit of benefit of the doubt on this sort of thing. But let's have a listen to what he says.
I know the truth. I didn't kill Lilly and Jack.
It's been 6 weeks now since you've seen Lilly and Jack. I just want to ask, how are you holding up?
It's been a long 6 weeks. I know that everybody basically in the world at this point is always wanting to know like what happened. It's been from sadness to anger at this point. And I know the RCMP and major crimes are working around the clock trying to piece everything together, and I'm grateful for that. But it always leaves the question, 6 weeks has gone by, and we know at this point they're not in the woods, and where are they?
Did you feel in the beginning that they suspected you?
Okay, so to me, the way he presents himself here is very different than a person like Scott Peterson, Chris Watts, what's his name? JP Miller, who is, they're more trying to control what the media is saying, trying to, you know, just wrangle the narrative. To me, he's not like that. I mean, I'd love your opinion on that.
Of course. The stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
You felt that from the beginning?
Yeah.
But you don't feel that now?
No, I don't feel that at all. I asked for the lie detector exam, the polygraph exam. I gave them my phone. I told them do drug tests because there's a lot of rumors online about a drug party. Mm-hmm. I know the person that said those rumors, and it was just to take the heat off themselves.
Was there any kind of party?
No.
Was there any kind of gathering that someone might have thought was a party?
No.
There were no people at the house?
No. Not the night before.
Okay, you mentioned you offered to take a polygraph.
That qualifier, not the night before, I don't know what to make of that. But he's saying the whole drug party thing is hogwash. People are full of beans.
Test?
Yeah.
Did the RCMP take you up on that?
Yes, they did.
And how did that unfold?
That unfolded in my favor. They obviously know I wasn't lying about anything.
So they said, yep, great, thank you, come in for a polygraph test.
Yeah, it took a little while to set up. And
when did you do that test?
I don't know the exact date, but that would be At least 3 weeks ago, probably.
So roughly 3 weeks after the disappearance.
Yeah.
And I think most Canadians wouldn't have any idea what's involved with that. Can you describe the process? You go in and just tell us right from the start.
We go in, sit down in a big comfy chair, and they have multiple sensory pads. You have them underneath your forearms, you have them underneath your butt, and you have them underneath your feet with your shoes off. You have a sweat gland on one finger. You have a measuring instrument for blood flow that goes in and out of your hand. And you have a cuff on your arm for blood pressure to measure your pulse.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was extremely nervous. Especially with the first question.
Apparently, the polygraph can tell the difference between nerves and then your fight or flight reflex, right? But, dude, that would scare the crap out of me.
I asked you, did you kill Lilly and Jack?
That was the first question they asked you?
Yeah. Yeah.
What went through your mind when someone's asking you that question so point blank like that?
Your mind has a massive release of chemicals, I guess you would call them. Just, it's like your stress levels just astronomically through the roof, and your body doesn't know what to do. Because it's not every day the way you're hooked up to machines in an interrogation room where someone asks you questions like that.
What other kinds of questions did they ask you?
All the questions pertain to the death of Lilly and Jack. Are you accessory to
This is important.
the murder of Lilly and Jack? They were all.
So all of the questions assumed that the children are no longer alive?
Yeah.
That is, I mean, I think that is I think that's what kind of leads me now to they're probably dead, is that investigators believe they have been murdered. I mean, it's possible though, of course, that they just are like, hey, we're gonna rule out the whole murder thing, but I don't think so. I think investigators think Lilly and Jack have been murdered. They're not in the woods. If they are in the woods, it's their graves, right? That's what I think.
There were no questions at all about, did you take...
And I know you asked me for my opinion earlier, and I said I don't have one, and now I'm coming down with a strong opinion. That makes me a professional waffler, for which I'm sorry. There we go.
them somewhere? Could
No.
they be somewhere?
No.
The police have done a number of polygraph tests. They've done 53 formal interviews. Do you know who these people are?
Yeah.
That's a lot of interviews.
It is a lot of interviews. A lot of them are my family, people that live in the area. And those interviews, typically, my interview was 4 hours. And a lot of the interviews from my family were 1, 2 hours. So there's a lot of time taken up, and they ask detailed questions.
Do you know who else actually took a polygraph test?
I mean, I do, but I'm not going to say anything that's going to impede the investigation.
Okay. When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job, you passed.
And how did that feel?
Good.
And did you feel that there was any further suspicion on you after that point, or was that sort of conclusive?
No, that was really when I seen the turning point for it starting to taper off with investigators.
Do you know if Malaya has taken one?
I don't know if I can say it, but I will anyway. Yes, she did take one.
Okay, she took one. Do you know the result?
No. RCMP weren't allowed to tell me I asked.
You said you feel like everyone in the world wants to know what.
That's really interesting, right? I'm not supposed to say, but I know that she has. I'll say it anyway. Do you know the results? I asked. They weren't allowed to tell me. Now, she is radio silent, right? She's radio silent. So we don't know. We have no idea what the results are or what she would say the results are. But I found that very interesting. Hey, Tina, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Before it disappears, I'm going to bring it up just to acknowledge you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Noah. Noah, you are the best. Thank you very much. All right, let's keep going here.
Happened to Lilly and Jack.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think this is getting so much attention?
Well, just the mysterious and nature of everything and how strange everything is. The RCMP, you know, I mean, they have to keep a tight lip on everything, but there's a lot more that meets the eye with the case.
Is there something that you think the public doesn't know that you can share, that you want the public to know?
That's a hard one because I don't want to impede the investigation in any way. It is still a missing persons investigation. It hasn't pivoted to any type of criminal investigation.
I don't think that's true.
The kids were seen the day before. I know a lot of people didn't know that. I still see a lot of stuff online that the kids could have been missing for days. They were out of school for days, and they were seen in the Glasgow area on camera the day before the disappearance in the afternoon.
Where was that?
I don't know if I can say that, but it was near the Highland Square Mall.
Was it with you?
It was with me, Malaya, and Meadow, and Lilly and Jack were there too.
And are the police aware of that?
The police were aware of that since.
Meadow's the baby.
Do they have that video?
Yes, they do. I also talked to my coworker in the parking lot as well, and he verified that with investigators as well. So, for all the speculation, they were gone days ahead of time, or they were seen the afternoon on camera before the disappearance.
Why do you think the police are asking for video dating back, you know, days before that?
Well, the reason for that is they want to see the traffic of the vehicles on the roads in the area, right?
This sounds
Maybe
like he's
vehicles that
explain
were
this.
traveling that area a lot over the last few days prior to hand, or vehicles that, you know, weren't seen in the area, or vehicles that were seen in the area, like local people that are, you know what I mean, making frequent trips past the house. Or
Sorry, I've got the yawns going on here. It's not because I'm bored. It's because I'm super tired.
which it's all considered evidence. I mean, the more pictures and videos is the better.
They say they have hundreds of hours of video. Do you know if they've found anything on those videos?
I think it was up to 2 weeks ago, they had footage that they examined for evidence that was 8 kilometers diameter out from the house. So that was after a month. That's how long it took to get footage and review it 8 kilometers out. So
But what's on the video?
I don't know. I'm only limited by what they tell me.
How often are they in touch with you?
Investigators now, I'd say maybe once every 5 days. And usually I'm the one who calls or messages them.
And how has that changed over the course of the 6 weeks?
Well, from the beginning it was almost daily, tapering off to where it's only like once every 5 days now.
And how do you feel about that?
It's good and bad. I mean, I like to talk to them in person about any little small details I come up with or anything I can try to bring to their attention which may help the investigation.
See, again, if he's telling the truth here, which it feels to me he is, it doesn't feel like he's controlling. It doesn't feel like he's trying to gaslight us here. Though the best gaslighters would be, I wouldn't even detect it. But anyway, if he's telling the truth and he is reaching out to the police and saying, hey, I remembered this detail, or I thought about this, or I found this, then that is an indication that he wants to find the children, not that he wants to keep them hidden, right? That's what I think.
So I don't get to see them often, so it's always over phone or messaging, and it's hard to really convey what you want to say when you're not in person. But then I also know the eye's not on me. The investigators don't see me as part of the disappearance.
How do you know that?
Well, when you're going from daily to tapering off every 5 days, I mean, I've already gave them everything on my phone. I'm the one who originally said, here, take my phone. We'll go through all my banking information. We'll go through all my stuff on my GPS from Google.
And you were offering all that up right from
Yeah,
the
I
beginning.
offered everything.
And why were you doing that?
To show them that I want to get the investigation moving. I know I have nothing to do with any of it. A lot of speculation is you killed the kids. We'll just come out and say it straight as it is.
What do you think when you read that?
It's a lot of nonsense, obviously. I know the truth. I didn't kill Lilly and Jack. And I just think a lot of people online they're seeking drama. That's the main thing. Everybody's allowed their own opinion, like I said before, but it's hard on the people that were actually there and missing the children. Still haven't got to see any of my kids, including Lilly and Jack.
This somebody asked about earlier.
And that's been really tough, going from a family of 7, including my other 2 kids that live in Halifax now. Going from a family of 7 in the blink of an eye, your family's ripped apart and you're left alone.
So that is his interview. Let's go back to your comments here. Let's see what Nifty 5050 says. What they deserve more probably means they deserve to still be here and have a life. Yeah, maybe. Could be. Canoni's corrupt court. Oh, that's right up there with Demon Hugger. Okay, that is a great handle. Gavin, if the parents did this, I don't think they'd have buried the children in their own backyard woods. They would have known better. I agree. The mom of my grandson, so impersonal. Well, I think she was talking, when she said that, I think she was talking about another mother of her grandson. Because then she started saying Malaya. Diane says her 7-year-old grandson is a baby whisperer too. Yeah, good on him. Good on him. When our kids were little, we'd go to church and let me hide that. We'd go to, oh my goodness, I've got so many things up. We'd go to church and, when we had little ones, and they'd be fussy or whatever during service. And so I would go out and I had a secret. Okay, I'm giving you baby whisperer secrets here, okay? Number 1, if you do like a little, like just where you're doing a long kiss, like forever, and do it right in front of their ear, they will stop anything. Just that's trick number 1. Trick number 2, and this is apropos of nothing. I mean, these are the kids that we're talking about here. Again, we take the cases seriously. We don't take ourselves seriously, right? Baby whisperer secret number 2 is Marvin Gaye. Okay? Every child responds to Marvin Gaye. So at church, I would take them out of the service where they were like making a fuss. I would find a dark place, and then I would sing Marvin Gaye. Just telling you that it works every time. Okay, back to the case. Only me, baby, too. Gavin is bio-dead on house arrest till 10/26. No, that is a different Cody Sullivan. Patty says, yeah, she thinks they're dead. Monica Brewster said, Gavin, I said suggested they should check dens for remains. Sad to say the foresters would pretty well keep track of coyotes and bear and other animals out there. They're just so little. Maybe, yeah. That's a good point. Words bloom. Gavin, there might be a legitimate reason why the bio dad didn't go looking for them. Maybe he's in a wheelchair. Maybe he has severe mental health issues. Who knows? Okay, yeah, fair enough. What your thoughts on them offering $150,000 reward for info? I think that does point to nefariousness. I think that's what that means. 420 Angel. I wonder if she was having postpartum depression. She did just have a baby. That is a great point. Maybe she was in the middle of postpartum. And man, that is a devastating condition for sure. Good point. Possible. Tony says, I'm in recovery. When I was actively drinking, my house went to hell. I didn't care anymore. I'm a very neat person, but addiction is awful. Well said. Patty says the same thing. Maybe it was postpartum. That's, yeah. Yeah, no judgment on that stuff. I'm just trying to explain it, right? Why would things change? Jen L says, it sounds like Malaya was the one who left, not the bio dad. Yeah, the way that Belinda described it is Malaya was unhappy and left, and when she petitioned the court for custody, the bio dad was like, okay, I'm out. I still have an issue with that. Kat says, Gavin, you actually did not listen to all the dispatch audio. There were some other ones that were not put on the website you got them from. That includes when they found the blanket and clothes. Okay. Well, I better see if I can get those, because I thought that I heard the whole shebang. Crack-a-Jack says, it's an 18-minute drive to the coast. Daniel went missing that morning, stating he was up to his waist in water. What do you think about the coastal waters as a possibility? Yeah, is it something that he slipped in? Something about that? I think that if he survived a polygraph, and by the way, he's the only person saying he passed a polygraph. Police haven't said that, right? So we should maintain that healthy skepticism. But if he did pass a polygraph, I would say probably coastal waters probably aren't a possibility. Now, if he did not pass the polygraph, then what you're saying makes sense to me. Calais Lou says, I'm not saying this is what happened, but sadly, Nova Scotia has the highest percentage of human trafficking in all of Canada. It's scary to know this and have young ones. Ooh, wow. Kelsey says, I've posted the video of the relative of Malaya in Slack. You'll have to take a look, as it's about an hour and 45 minutes into the... Okay, I will take a look. Thank you, Kelsey. Kelsey's on top of things, guys. On top of things. Kat says, Daniel did say almost everything in his video is accurate from the first couple of days. The only difference is that the mother said she could not hear the kids. Daniel did not say that. Okay, good pointing that out. Kat says no wolves in Nova Scotia. Okay, there are eastern coyotes, bobcats, mountain lions, and lynx. Thank you. Yes, my mom was tired. My mom wanted a break, for sure. And by the way, the other thing that happened is when I turned 4, that's when my baby sister was born. And so it was just a couple months later that we started school. So she had a newborn to deal with. She wanted me out of her hair for a couple of hours. My mom's amazing. Okay, Nifty 50 brought that up too. Okay, that's in Slack. Good. GF, I sent a link for CTV News on YouTube about the reward. Thank you. I will get into that. Oh my goodness, so much stuff coming in. I think Nifty 50 says we want to hear you sing some Marvin Gaye. Well, you may have your chance if I have a baby in my hand who needs to take a nap. I'm telling you, that is the way to go. Yeah, it can be any Marvin Gaye song, but I have to say that the more, I guess, inappropriate it is, the better it works. So definitely do Let's Get It On. It's completely inappropriate, but it's got that groove. It's got that wah, 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 wah. Right? It's got the groove. It puts the little ones to sleep. All right, guys. Yeah, Cece saying, where were your baby whisper secrets when my sons were babies? Thank you guys for playing along and booing me up. I am the guy. When I was growing up, we've always been active in church, and when I was, you know how like it's always the girls that like the teenage girls that have babysitting jobs. No, I had good babysitting jobs when I was a teenager. I was a good babysitter. I loved kids, and they loved me, and I wasn't just like the horsing around kind of babysitter. I was, feed them, do the dishes. I loved it, and I wanted kids from the time I was a little kid. I just love them. I love them to death, and it works out well that Kimberly and I had 5. We wanted 6 at the beginning. We did not make it there. We got too old. Anyway, so glad that you joined me tonight. Hey, tomorrow we've got one more case. We're going to be doing our first video on the case, and because I am on the spot, I am blanking on this case, but it was suggested by you guys. Let me just pull up Slack here real quick and tell you what it is that we're going to be doing tomorrow in the case research area. Travis Decker. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing the case. This one, guys. This one. And I have to say, Kelsey Adams has gotten so much information. So, yes, we are going to be going over the horrible case that is now the manhunt for Travis Decker. So that's what we'll be doing tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I hope you will join us. Then we're going to all take a break, get a nice cleansing weekend, and we'll be back at it on Monday. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me. Remember to always go to the website if you want to reach out to me. You want to buy some merch, you want to support me that way, you want to buy Autumn a coffee, gavinfish.com is the place to do it. There's always a link below. Last thing, while I am doing shameless self-promotion, when you go to my website, you can see this little fishy up here. That will take you to the fish tank. That is where we hang out on Facebook, and Pat is our lead admin, and boy, does she keep that place tidy and neat. So if you are on Facebook, you're invited. Come join us. With that, I will bid you adieu. Thank you very much for being here, and we will see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.